Joshua Thomas John Lloyd Cuthbert.
Hello.
Welcome to my podcast.
Was that always the plan, to introduce me like that?
No, it just came to me.
Yeah, it's nice.
You don't
Great
want
name.
me to say that.
No, it's very royal. Joshua Thomas John Lloyd Cuthbert.
It's a very long name.
Yeah,
I had to say that when we got married down the aisle.
Yeah, all the best.
To the woman, do you remember? And
Yeah.
I was just like, I think I got it mixed up, all those middle names.
Mm.
And now we've added an extra one.
I know.
So I don't think people know that we're actually Lloyd
Double-barreled.
Cuthbert. Yeah, we're a modern couple.
We are. I just feel
Welcome.
sorry for the kids if we ever have kids.
I know,
And then they have kids. Then which one do they keep? Anyway, we'll talk about that in private.
They can do what they want.
They can do what
mind.
they want.
We
Exactly.
don't even use it in life, do we? On Instagram, we don't even look married.
That's true.
So welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having
I'm
me.
not sure how you made it on because it's usually just gays and gals.
Well,
We've made an exception.
the IP has arrived.
I mean, I do spend 90% of my time with you, so
Yeah.
I suppose you're allowed on the sofa.
Thanks for having me.
So I thought it'd be cute, so you guys can get to know us.
Yeah.
Get to know Josh.
And we've never really done something like this, have we? We've
No.
never really actually properly spoken as a couple in an environment like this. It's always been
pod.
quick little 10-second clips on Instagram or
Yeah.
a random interview, but it's quite nice to actually sit down and chat.
Yeah, it's nice to sit down and chat. Usually on the sofa, I'm look like an absolute tramp in my pajamas, hair on top of my head.
Yeah, this is the most bougie we've looked on a sofa for a while.
I know. Usually I've got a face mask on or no makeup and I just look like a right little rat, but that's my
No, you
favourite.
don't look a rat. That's horrible.
That's
Don't be so rude on yourself.
No, I mean it in the best way. Like the girls know that are listening, it is the best thing in the world to have those days where you're just like having a rat day.
A rat.
No, what do I like to call it? Rotting.
Rotting. Yeah, Chloe has this thing where she's like, sorry about me, I'm rotting. And I'm just like, what do you mean rotting?
And you're like, that's a horrible word.
It is a horrible word. Don't call yourself rotting.
No, it's a word. It's just the word that we use. We're
Yeah,
rotting.
I think
rotting
I still
days.
think you look great rotting.
No, I don't, but thank you very
You're
much.
the only person in the world that could still look good and rot.
I definitely don't. But thank you very much. You always look perfect, though. Honestly, I don't know how he does it. Anyway, I thought we'd do a little, so you guys can get to know us before I start interviewing you as one of my muses. I thought I'd do a little Q&A. First, I feel like we should do how we met.
Okay.
Because people always ask that, don't they?
Yeah.
I feel like it's the classic
Standard
thing you
question.
ask a couple.
Yeah. So am I answering this
You
or are you
answer
answering
it, yeah.
Okay.
We've probably got
So,
total different versions.
well, surely it's just the story, isn't it?
Yeah.
We met at a launch party of a hotel in London called the
Yeah.
Mondrian. And I was
the
with
rooftop bar
It was a
thing, wasn't
rooftop
it?
bar opening, yeah.
Was it Fashion Week?
Yes, it was Fashion Week. Yeah. And we were so my arm's going to get really achy by the time I've left today. This is a
I
good
thought
workout.
you go to the gym.
Yes, this mic is good.
I don't go to the gym and I'm fine.
So I was with my band, Union J. So we we'll get onto that, I'm sure, later. But I was with the boys in my band, and we'd been to about 4 events that night, and we were knackered. And I remember going, "Oh God, do we have to go to this? This weird restaurant, hotel, bar opening?"
It
I
was
was
a
like,
bit random, wasn't it?
it was so weird. And I remember we were quite close to leaving, and then I remember seeing you, as in Chloe, across the room, and I thought, Jesus, who is that? She's rather lovely.
Aww.
And I think I remember staring at you quite a lot.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Did I do
because
that?
I was there, from my point of view, I was there. I'd also been to an event. I think we've been to the same event before that, but
Yeah.
obviously not seen each other or anything. It was like a shoe event before that, because Kate Moss was there.
Kate Moss, we went to that one too.
And I was there with my agency, and I was just buzzing because when they take sort of models out to events, it means that that they're putting a bit of attention on you and they want you to get photographed or whatever. So I was like, oh, this is so cool, I'm going to meet Kate Moss. But by the time I got there, Kate Moss had left, so I was fuming. But then we thought, oh, let's go to this next one because let's have some drinks.
Yeah.
We were more there for the free drinks.
Yeah.
I think my agent or my friend was like, that boy's staring at you.
Like
I was
a creep.
a bit weird.
It was a bit weird, but it worked. It somehow worked. I remember seeing you and I was just like, I need to have any courage in talking to this ridiculously good looking thing.
Aw.
I had to have about 5 vodka orange juices. And I remember going up, and I remember it so well. I remember being so nervous. I was like, I don't really drink, do I? You know me, I don't
No.
really drink. And I remember thinking, I need to have a few drinks here to be able to. That was the only reason I drank, to have the courage to talk to you. And it worked. And those vodka orange juices will always be a special drink of mine.
I mean, you say it worked. You came over and were like, first my agent went over and chatted to you for a bit, I think. And because she was just drunk and just being stupid. She found it funny that this guy was looking at me. And then I think later on you came over to me and was like, you were like, I don't want to leave without asking for your number or something. Something cheesy.
So to those listening, basically Chloe's agent gave me Chloe's number because she was really drunk and said, you need to go out with a girl that I look after. You guys would be so great together.
No, I think she'd basically just seen you looking at me.
Probably.
Which,
she gave me Chloe's number.
She didn't ask me if I could
That's true.
do that.
That's client confidentiality, isn't it? Breached. And she was your agent.
She obviously worked to make it happen. What's really funny is, obviously you were in a boy band at the time. My agents at the time were always like, do not ever get with someone that's in the public eye or in some sort of boy band, because instantly, you know, like the world's quite sexist. They'll suddenly be like, you know, oh, she just wants to go, she's with someone in a boy band. So they were always like, absolutely avoid at all costs. And at the time I was single and I did not want a boyfriend at all. So she really egged that on.
She did. It's terrible of her.
It's terrible.
Did she give her your number to loads of other men or boys?
Oh yeah, this is just one of many.
Okay, fine. Probably about 7 that night.
Imagine.
Went on a few trials and then...
Just you. And then, that was it. I think you invited me to a club.
Did I?
Yes.
No. So
you were like, oh yeah, we're going to Après.
I was going to a really wanky London club after, because I was like, oh, you know, isn't that what everyone does? And I'm not from London. I'm not from London, so I was like, exactly. We were like 19, 20. No,
20.
21.
I think
21.
I just turned 22. 21 or 22.
21, 22. And I was going out with a few of my mates and I was like, yeah, Chloe, you should come to Bodo's.
That was it, Bodo's.
And you were like, no, I'm all right, mate.
Yeah, I was like, no, thank you.
Yeah, and then I remember showing the lads a picture of you going, I've just got this girl's number. Look how fit she is.
That's so embarrassing.
Yeah, it was really embarrassing. And and then that's how we met. And then we went on dates and it all happened really quickly.
All worked out in the end.
It all went really quickly, didn't it?
Remember I felt that was like October, and then at Christmas you went to Barbados with your band and I came with you.
Yeah.
And then in January I was going to model for a month in LA and I was like, oh God, it's all booked. I'm going for a month. And the music industry kind of shuts down, doesn't it, in January? Yeah. So I was like, do you want to come with me?
Yeah.
And you came with me. It's so cute.
And I remember you telling me the news saying, Josh, I've got something to tell you. I'm going to LA for a month. And I just remember thinking, a month? How can I not see you for a month?
It's funny because now a month, it's not that long.
No, now you'd be buzzing if I went away for a month, wouldn't it?
Like, thank God.
You'd be like, thank fuck for that. Get rid of him for a month. Lovely.
No, maybe a week.
Well, yeah, a week. I mean, that's healthy. A week at a time is healthy.
You're going away this weekend, aren't you?
I'm going to Amsterdam to watch the football final.
Don't say that because this will be out a long time after, but we can pretend it's this weekend. So then you came with me and we got these tattoos. We both got J and C.
We did. I've got horrible fingers, but if you can see it.
Tattooed on our ring fingers, which is quite intense, isn't it?
That for me is like, I remember telling my mum, she was like, are you okay?
I know, yeah, it's a bit much really. Like looking back, if a young girl like my niece or whatever said that to me, I'd be like, are you all right?
Mad.
But well, you know,
we
were in LA. We were on Melrose Avenue.
Yeah,
it was a vibe.
It felt right.
We're being rock and roll.
We were very rock and roll. Very rock and roll.
We were not rock and roll.
But yeah, what a commitment to have the tattoo on the wedding ring finger.
You can turn it out into many letters, you know.
I remember speaking to the boys, and it was like, if Chloe didn't work out, then I have to go out with someone that begins with a C.
Yeah, I made that joke too.
Yeah, we've both made that joke.
Just make it into a star.
Yeah.
But look at us now, it worked out.
Thriving.
So screw them. So I asked the people of the Instagram world some quick fire questions just to get to know you a little bit more and get to know us. So let's have a look. Who is the cook?
You.
I'm just asking things that are just giving me compliments.
This is so like, what's the word? There's a ulterior motive behind this.
Absolutely.
You know all these questions are going to be in your favour.
Who's the cook of the
You're the cook. You're a very, very good cook.
Thank you.
Stupidly good cook. She has this habit of like throwing ingredients together that just work. And she's like,
skill.
Well, it has to be at this point because it's too much of a fluke to be like.
But you know what? So Josh was on MasterChef, Celebrity MasterChef. And honestly, I don't hear the end of it.
I was glad you said the celebrity bit there because otherwise, like, you actually have to be a good cook to go on the MasterChef.
Yeah, I just need to make sure we add that bit in because people love being like, but Josh was on MasterChef. He can cook. And I'm like, no. On the celebrity one, it's not, you can wing it.
You
can cook.
Yeah.
If you put your mind to it,
Yeah.
you can cook, but you just don't enjoy it, so you're lazy with it.
I get stressed, man. It's like all of the pans and I can't do multiple things. So like the other day, do you remember I was getting really stressed because I had like 3 pans cooking, something in the microwave, and I was like, this is too much. I can't multitask. So
whereas that's where we are opposite. Like I'm a very calm person.
Yeah, you're chilled.
And you're more of a stressy person.
Yeah.
If you're into star sign, I'm a Libra, so I'm very balanced.
And Cuthbert's a Leo.
And you're a Leo.
Yeah.
You love attention.
I don't love attention.
I'm joking. You're obsessed with your hair. That's what Leos are as well. The lion's mane.
Fair point.
But yeah, that's where we balance each other out. And that's why I'm the cook. How long have we been together?
9 years, 10 years, coming up to 10 years.
Yes, well done.
Thank you.
You had the panic on your face.
Yeah.
Like, oh God,
well, you didn't prep me about that question. I should have sent these to my agent. I don't have one, but
you should know.
9.5, nearly 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, it depends when this podcast is released. So.
Well, exactly. It might be next year.
Could be 15 years.
Which maybe.
Why don't we record each year just in case you want to spread it out?
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Which is crazy though, isn't it? Decade nearly.
Yeah, mad. It's just
actually mental.
It's gone so quickly. It's like I know it sounds really stupid. I don't remember life before you.
Aww.
Like, yeah,
you
it's
always
cute,
say
right?
that.
Yeah, I don't really remember. Like for me, life started when
That's
I met
when the
you.
party started.
Well, if that's what you want to call it.
Okay, who is the boss?
see the absolute
Who's
silence. If I had to say one, you, but only by like a 0.5%.
You know what?
Because
what, girls? That's what you need them to think.
No. yeah, but
I love that you think that.
No, listen, I genuinely think we are very even in everything, which is a nice even.
We complement
each other. But if I had to say one, it would be you. But then, that's because you sat here and it's your podcast. If I ever have a podcast and I ask you that question, but anyway, you.
No, I think it is me in a nice way, not because the word boss sometimes can be seen as a negative, but I actually have a theory where I feel like relationships where the man sort of respects the woman's opinion more and she is a bit more of the one that makes the final decision, which I would say I am, are usually the best relationships. Like of our friends that are like that and anyone I know, and I think women are actually good leaders and that men respect women's leadership.
Yeah, I agree.
But
and I think it's important.
Their vibe too. But
I think it's important to I think
because you can get toxic masculinity a lot these days, can't you? Especially online with men where they can be like, the woman belongs in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's coming back around, which is quite worrying.
Yeah.
So I think any man that respects women and wants to put them above themselves, we love.
Yeah.
And they're the best relationships, I
Amen.
think. Don't you think?
Amen, sister.
You said that when we got married.
I
You
did.
said, amen, sister.
Yeah, I still regret it.
When we got married.
I think I say it when I get uncomfortable.
Down the aisle.
Not that I'm uncomfortable now. I just say weird things
Some
when
of my
I get...
friends, yeah, you do.
Yeah, I do say odd things.
Josh is one of those people where when I go to events or like we're at weddings and we meet new people, he'll say all these sarcastic, like silly jokes. And I'm like, we might be meeting someone that doesn't get sarcasm or they're going to take it seriously and you're going to offend them. So I have to be like, I walk behind him like, ha ha ha.
Oh, she apologized. No, hang on. That's
Isn't he funny?
She
Funny
apologizes on my behalf. She actually gets to the point now where Chloe will go up to people and go, by the way, Josh is really sarcastic and he probably doesn't mean all the stuff he says.
He's joking.
She's pre-warning everyone like I'm some sort of like 12-year-old that is just out of control.
No, I'm like,
I like it.
Funny. He's a funny guy.
Yeah. I just think life is like, you have to live life a little bit on the edge. And if people can't take sarcasm, like, come on.
Oh, it's their problem.
It's their problem.
I totally agree. Because I'd find things funny.
Yeah.
But it's if some people just want to take things offensively, don't
yeah.
they? So I'm
They're looking
worried.
for a reason to take things offensively. But I'm just sarcastic.
You get away
as
with
anything.
it.
Yeah.
You do. Okay, who is the messiest?
Me.
Yeah, it is you.
I mean, it's shocking.
Okay, Josh, describe Chloe in 3 words.
In 3 words, off the top of my head.
Off the top of your head. We ain't got all day.
Driven.
Oh, thank you. Am I?
Caring.
Aw.
And loyal.
Aw, thank you.
Yeah, you're very caring, very loyal, and very driven.
Yeah, I've not been that driven this year. I feel like this
year.
No,
but to get this, I know how much of a so I know how much hard work you've put into this podcast, for example.
Yeah.
And that makes me very proud of you, because people don't realize, people see the finished article with a podcast. They don't actually see the ins and outs, what goes on behind the scenes. And you've done this completely but you've done this completely on your own. And that's incredible. And that's why I think one of the very, lots of things you're very driven with.
Yeah. Wait, I've got to think of 3 for you now.
Is that my question? Or is that you just asking yourself that question?
No, it's my question is describe Josh in 3 words.
Oh, there you go.
Which is hard because there's a lot of words I can use to describe you.
Incredible.
Imagine smelly.
Passionate. Smelly. Vile. Controlling.
Average.
Yeah. Just a bit shit.
Yeah. And moving on.
Can we swear on this, by the way?
Yeah, you can swear.
I can swear.
It's my podcast. We
Fuck
do it
yeah. Woo!
Fuck
Sorry if that was a bit loud. Soundman's having a heart attack.
Sorry if any of our family are listening. That
Oh,
don't like
mum
swearing.
swears. My mum loves a little swear word. She does.
Stop it.
She loves a little swear word. So, mum, if you're
Only
listening.
a cheeky one.
A little cheeky fuck.
Okay, we'll
No,
cut that
I don't mean literally like that. I mean,
We'll cut that bit.
it's fine.
Okay. Oh, wait, I didn't answer it. Okay, so 3 words about you. Funny. Sweet. Because I always think you're sweet. And charismatic.
Charismatic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think when you're in a room, I quite like when I go to things with you because I'm like, oh, Josh can just talk to them and I could just chill. Like you just love a chat, whereas I don't mind a chat, but I prefer to. Like I'm like, can we go now? If we're at a fancy event, and sometimes Josh will be in the corner chatting away, and
You
I'm
don't like a chat unless it's on your podcast, because
Unless
that's
it's
what a
on
podcast is the chat. So you do love a chat.
Unless it's about things that I am interested in and people I really like. I don't like small talk with people that I feel
it's
like
an art. Small talk is literally an art.
You're
I feel knackered after any type of small talk. I'm just like, oh my god. Like,
I have to have
tiring.
like a whole day to compress,
Yeah,
like
it's
decompress.
tiring.
I have to go and sit on my own sometimes.
Yeah. I think it's also because I like really care about other people and I really actually take an interest in people's lives. So like for me, like talking to people is like actually, I just learn things off people.
Yeah, I just went to an event. Obviously, I just went to the south of France, and I feel like I was part of me after talking to people. I was like, did I talk too much? Was I asking them too many questions?
No, you can never
I
ask
just
too many
want
questions.
them to feel like they're involved.
That you've
and
taken
they're
an
happy.
interest.
Yes, because I know when people do that to me, I'm like, oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get into it. You're not my husband now.
Is that
You're
not it? I thought we were done.
Yeah, that's it. That's the end of the podcast. I feel like we could obviously talk about a million and one things.
Yeah.
But before I met you, you're obviously, when I met you, you were in your band, but you weren't in it for long when we first met. So let's talk about the music industry, how you got into it, because I wasn't even there then. So I feel like it's a good one, even though I know about it. We haven't talked about it for a while, have we?
No.
And I feel like it's interesting if, any of you guys are listening. We all love a pop star. We all love listening to our favorite songs and gossiping.
Pop star's a stretch, but yeah.
You were a pop star. So you've got the inside knowledge, because obviously, let's begin.
Yep.
How did you first know that you could sing? Because Josh is so good at singing. Like when I tell you, he's not just average at singing, he's like unreal at singing. So how did you first realize?
I remember Blue. Do you remember the band Blue? Obviously, you know how much I love them.
Obviously, we all know
So
Blue.
All
Rise.
Literally, I remember being in my bunk bed at home and listening to having a CD Walkman and listening to the Blue album on my Walkman. And I remember
how good was that when you
incredible.
Got all the lyrics?
Oh, it's so good. That's what I mean. I got the lyrics out and I was singing along to it. And I remember having this feeling. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was like, I sound a bit like Lee Ryan. In my head, I was like, I can sing like Lee Ryan. Like, no. And then I remember thinking, no, surely I can't. And then I remember I think I told my mum that. I was like, Mum, I think I can sing like Blue. And I think my mum naturally was like, who hadn't at this point hadn't never heard me sing. I think she was probably like, yeah, all right, Josh.
Yeah, of course.
Good one.
It's like me being like, oh yeah, I sound like Britney.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's not great. But anyway,
Aguilera.
Yeah, there you go. That's that's a bit better. But like, I feel like she was probably like, yeah, all right, Josh. But being a supportive mum was like, oh, inspire my kid to do anything. Yeah. And I remember I then auditioned for my school play, Scrooge, to be Scrooge, and came back home and told mum that I got the part for Scrooge. And she, again, was a bit surprised. She came to see me in Scrooge and was like, Jesus, what the hell? Like, you can really sing.
She's told me this story. She said that the teacher said that she should have a tissue because she knew that she would cry.
Yeah.
How sweet.
Yeah, I think the teachers were preparing my mum for something she just had no idea.
Yeah, I bet that
really
was amazing,
existed.
like knowing that your little boy and he's just up there singing all like a little angel.
Yeah, and I wasn't like the type of, I wasn't particularly confident. I was like normal. I wasn't like this really showy off, look at me sing kind of like boy. I was very, very shy with it. I can
imagine you being cute and shy.
Yeah, that's how I first ever realised I could sing.
And then what did you do from there with your singing skills?
Well, then my mum was like, we need to get you into some sort of like singing lesson, stage school. So I went to Stagecoach, which was just a local little theatre thing on like a Saturday. And I had to dance there, sing and act. I hated the dancing. I was the only boy. And I remember having to do this stupid thing of like, I'm going to whoosh my knees and roll my stockings down.
I did that in drama as well.
And then the teacher was like, even you, Josh, roll your stockings down. I'm like, no, this is not okay. This is not normal. And I hated that. It
is normal.
I hated the dancing. I was one of the typical boy of like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing.
Yeah.
But I loved the singing and I loved the acting. So like I went there for that. And so I did that. I then started to get sent to some auditions for like theatre stuff. So I would audition. I think I auditioned for like Oliver, auditioned for some CBBC television shows and got really close to getting quite a few things, but never quite getting them. Like I got to the latter stages of loads of auditions, and then I did the audition for Chitty Chitty Bang Bang in the West End, which was at the Palladium. So it was an incredible venue and an amazing show, and Jason Donovan was in it, Billy Connolly, like an amazing cast. And I got it. And then after that, it was just like 100 miles an hour. I sort of thought, you know what, this is really what I want to do. I really want to sing. And I just kept grafting away. Like that's where it kind of...
And then what was the first band you joined? Because you were in loads of bands. I bet people would know that you were in one band, but you were in loads, right? What was the first one?
The first one, so after Chitty Bang Bang, sounds so stupid saying that out loud.
Best film ever. I used to love watching that
Dick
as a
Van Dyke. After that, I auditioned. X Factor actually opened the age from 16 to 14. So I just did Chitty. I think I was 13 at the time. I was like, I saw that advertised on telly about the X Factor age and I was buzzing. I was like, Mum, I'm going to audition.
And back then, X Factor was everything. Like social media wasn't a thing.
No.
Everyone used to just sit and watch TV on a Saturday night and it was X Factor. Millions and millions and millions of people tuned in and millions of people wanted to do it.
Yeah.
And auditioned.
Yeah. It was massive. It was like, huge. It was the biggest brand as like an entertainment thing that the world has ever seen. Like obviously Pop Idol was massive, but X Factor was huge. And I remember thinking, this is it. I want to do this. I want to audition for X Factor. And I went at 14, auditioned. I got...
Which, by the way, if you look at 14...
Oh my God, baby. Literally like, a baby.
What 14-year-old's a pop star?
Well,
it's a bit silly, really, that they did 14, isn't it?
I agree. And I went along and this guy was backstage at the O2. I think it was the O2, somewhere that the first audition was. And... he scouted me and said, are you looking to be in a boy band? Because if you are, I've got one. And we did X Factor a couple of years ago and we're looking for a new member. And I auditioned. Anyway, I then carried on auditioning for X Factor. I got to the latter stages of boot camp. So Simon said no because I was too young. And I was like, well, you shouldn't have opened it up for 14-year-olds then. And then I remember joining a band that Simon Fuller, who looked after David Beckham, Victoria Beckham, Spice Girls, huge music manager. I was approached via those guys and they set up a band and we were signing to Island Records, which is Universal. And it was this big thing. We recorded an album. We were like non-stop doing loads and loads of things and we were buzzing about it. Like it was so exciting. And then randomly after about 6 months of doing that, Universal just said, we're not doing this anymore and dropped us. And it was like, we just got begun. It was so exciting. And then we were just dropped. And then I joined another band with a guy that I'd known since the first X Factor audition. Joined that for a little while. Then I left that band to go into an Irish band.
It's actually crazy.
It's mad. Like and then I was in like another band. I think it's been four or five bands before Uni and J.
You say I'm driven. You were very driven back then. Like jumping through bands is like to make it happen. It sounds really cringe. I felt like I belong. I felt like my calling was to be in a boy band.
And I know that sounds really strange. It sounds strange to say it out loud.
You're the perfect person for a boy band because you're an amazing singer. You got the look.
No,
what Louis Walsh say? He says like,
you got the, what does he say?
You sound like a pop.
You sound like a pop. I'm not doing an accent. I'd sound more Jamaican. You sound like an accent. You sound like a pop star. You sing like a pop star. You are a pop star.
Yeah, you got the pops, and you're a cute little kid, and like you like being in a team. I feel like
I love being in a team.
I feel like boy band is like made for you.
It's like it's that kind of takes away the dauntingness, if that's even a word.
Yeah, you've got a little gang around you.
Yeah, like it takes away.
And then how did you get into uni and Jay?
So I remember I was 19 at the time, and at this point, all my mates had started to get jobs, real jobs, or they were at uni. And I remember thinking, this is my last go at it. So I joined a band. There were 3 of us. We were called Triple J. And then we were like, let's audition for X Factor. And in my head, that was my last attempt, because if I didn't make it then, I would have just given up.
How funny is that, though? You were so young and you were about to give up.
Literally.
I was talking about this with Sophie in another episode where she was saying how back then we thought that we were so old. Because back then, to be a pop star you had to be young, to be a model you had to be so young. Now it's different. I feel like how funny that was your last attempt. You were literally a baby.
Literally, and life hadn't even begun. I was 19.
Child,
literally a baby. And I remember thinking, if this doesn't work, then I have to stick to IT sales and a normal job. And that I never wanted to do that. My parents had all done that, and I respect that. And I think it's it's what most people in the world do. But I just thought I want to give doing something else a go, and until I really have to stop it, then I can then go and get a normal job. But so that happened, and then we auditioned for X Factor, and we managed to do really well from it, and we got to the finals, and it was great.
Well, let's rewind to when you got on X Factor. So they added George in, didn't they? So you went in as a 3.
Went in as a 3, yeah.
Then they added in George to make you a little 4. 'Cause 3, I've never really seen a boy band with 3.
But that's why we did it. That's why we auditioned as a 3, because we looked around and we thought, JLS were a 4, One Direction were a 5, let's be a 3 to be a bit different. So it was actually deliberate.
Yeah, it was tactical.
It was tactical.
But then they were like, no, we like 4.
We like 4. So we were like, fine, add this lad in. And
I think George was a good addition, because he was that different thing that you were missing. I feel like he had his whole look, and you 4 them all looked completely different.
Yeah, I would agree. And then
you became more of a sort of harmony band, didn't you? And he added to the harmony. Obviously.
3 is a really hard, like from a vocal point, like 3 people in a band is actually really challenging for harmonies. 4 just sounds so much fuller, so much like, just so much more warm.
I find that too when I'm singing.
With who?
With myself and my 4 part harmonies.
With Sushi the cat at home?
Yes. He would sing with me.
Right,
so when you get into X Factor, obviously everyone's watching. You have got through, you got the audition. It's mad. All your friends and your family must have been going, oh, what the hell, Josh? You're actually doing it. You're on it. Like, what did that? Was that not crazy?
Oh, that feeling of, I still... Obviously,
but everyone overnight knows your name.
Yeah,
that's how big it was.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like you and I have had some incredible memories, and when we've got married and all of that.
Oh, here we go.
But what I'm going to say now is
oh wow, you be careful.
No, I'm going to be careful. But when Louis Walsh told us we were through to the finals on Judges, that was the best feeling.
Video of that, guys. If you're listening,
God, you have to watch it.
Yeah, go back and look at Josh's hair.
Oh, well, I was going to say, look at their reaction, but you went for the hair.
He looks
savage.
No, I don't mean it like that. I just mean he looks like a completely different person. It's
really cute. Go back on the video. Don't worry about the reaction. Just look at his barnet.
No, because I'm about to ask you about the hair in a negative, in a sweet
nice
way.
Transition. You're getting good at this podcast
stuff.
Okay. Yeah, but that feeling of getting through was genuinely the best feeling I've ever had, and probably ever will. It was just absolutely unbelievable, and like all your dreams felt like they'd just come true.
Yeah.
Within.
And you were in Vegas.
We're in Vegas. Just mad.
So young.
Ridiculous.
You're on the biggest TV show in the world.
Yeah, it's just like you just think your life's made. You think you're sorted.
Have you got any, like what happened that was like other people wouldn't believe was the case? Because you moved into the Corinthia for a month, which is mental. Because we go and shoot near there all the time. And you're always like, I used to live here when I was on the X Factor.
Yeah.
What was that like?
That was, I actually found that really difficult. I remember, because I hadn't really been to London much before that. So I remember having to actually like
so
move out from home.
Close.
Yeah. Like move out from, from home into a hotel it was such a mad whirlwind. And as soon as the live shows aired, so we were there for 2 weeks, and then the first live show, then the judges' houses was actually on television, so people started to know who we were.
Yeah.
And then they realized we were living in Corinthia and all of that stuff. It was so strange, like having hundreds of people outside the hotel, screaming your name.
Especially boy bands. You get all the girls.
Just like, you can't really describe that.
Social media it was kicking off obviously, but it's more Twitter, wasn't it? So you didn't, it was, I don't know, it's just another era of like people being obsessed, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's almost harder to get to you, and there's paparazzi and all that stuff. That must have been
so to actually, like, this is the thing, when the fans and people like that actually saw us, they went nuts because they felt like the only time they ever saw us was in the flesh. Whereas now social media, you feel like you know the person before you even see them.
And did you instantly feel pressure? Because I know what you like now, you can be a bit like worried about having your photo taken or whatever, or just feel a bit, unsure. Did you have that then, like, because you were so young and you're being photographed all the time?
Yeah, I had that.
You're being pit against the other members of the band.
That was the hardest thing. It was you're not only in this. So I mean, I know I said earlier that like I always wanted to be in a boy band because of the camaraderie and like the fact you've got 3 other lads to lean on. But that was what's the word? Like a double-edged sword. Is that the saying? Because it's like, on the one side, it was lovely having the boys there, but on the other, we were so competitive towards one another that it was unhealthy. So it was like there were 2 ways of looking at it. There was a positive and there was a real negative.
Do you think that you were pit against each other by your management and by, the outside stuff? Or do you think it was something that you guys just did, just being competitive boys?
I think it would have come naturally to all of us because of the intense environment we were always in, but it was the management and label and everyone, they didn't help. They made it worse.
You used to do singles, didn't you, where it was like the Josh version, the George version, and that's a bit toxic, isn't it? All that does is force people to pick sides and pick favourites.
Well, I remember we had dolls, so we had, this is mad.
I know, we've got the dolls
we
in
had
our
dolls
house.
Yeah, we had Union J dolls, which was basically,
which is iconic.
Yeah, it's
you
mad. It's absolutely mad. It's just insane. When I say that out loud, I feel embarrassed saying it because it's like, so what? You had a doll. I'm like, yeah, it's just that. Yeah, we did.
It's amazing.
And we sold loads of them. Like, I think we sold more dolls than we did records. So it's like, it was surreal. And I remember going to Hamley's. We did 2 doll signings at Hamley's, and the queue on the street was just insane.
I've seen videos of it.
Yeah, like insane. And we went into this kind of little cupboard where all of the stock of the dolls were. And this was when we first started to really get a sense of who were the popular ones of the band, and it was really thrown in our face at that point.
How many dolls they would buy in, right?
Basically. So Hamley's bought in X amount for me, X amount for George, JJ, Jamie.
So savage.
And we'd see them on the shelf, and 2 of them, I'm not going to say, but 2 of them, there were a lot more of than the other 2.
Yeah.
And that was just, I remember thinking,
it's not very nice.
It's so uncomfortable. It was really uncomfortable. And like that constant thing of people would come in a queue and they'd have their favorite that they'd want to talk to or get a signature from or have a picture with. It's quite a lot. And you're getting, when you're getting told it every day, oh, he's my favorite. And if there's a common theme of who that is, it's quite.
And it was every day because you were working all hours constantly, weren't you? Like back then, the press circuits that pop stars would do, and like the interviews. Like even when I met you, I think you were it was kind of near the end of that era, but you were doing so much. Like it's mad.
Yeah, they work you so hard.
You're also tired. You're so in the bubble of it.
Yeah.
You're being pit against each other.
Yeah. Going back to the hair thing, genuinely, the hair. I remember X Factor pulled me in and were like, Josh, we want to do a big transformation from your look.
It's not America's Next Top Model.
No, well that was it, and it was like, we're going to cut all your hair off. Are you okay with that? And I was like, I've got no choice really.
Wow.
And I did it, and the reaction, like you said, was so a bit nuts. It was like, oh my God, we can see this face. Where's this face been hiding? And I remember
about it like on the Extra Factor.
Yeah,
stuff,
and I did get this real big confidence boost, massive confidence boost. Like I actually felt like I was like an okay looking boy after that. I didn't feel like that before, and I got that bit of attention. But then it started to, I think, become quite unhealthy because I was like, that's when I just put all my value on was how I looked. And then you're thrown into the limelight and you're thrown into competing against your other boys.
Getting
photographed all the time. And the funny thing with like people is that we used to have some amazing fans, but they would always be honest. They'd be like, God, you look tired, or God, you look this. I am.
It's because they felt like they knew you though, didn't they?
They felt like they knew us, yeah.
They followed you everywhere. They knew everything about you. I hate
that jumper.
They kind of did know you.
They did know us, yeah. Like, you know, and they got to know us. And so it came with huge pressures.
You had some amazing fans, or you still do.
We do.
You still got Union J fans that are really supportive. They'd literally follow you everywhere.
Yeah, they're incredible.
It's amazing. So, like, were there any dark sides of the X Factor? Because obviously, you know, there's a lot of stuff in the press about the X Factor at the minute. You've had Rebecca Ferguson come out about it. A lot of artists come out and say they were mistreated. They didn't have any aftercare. What are your thoughts?
I think there needs to be so much more done with care in general
I mean, there is now, isn't there, after like with Love Island, but obviously back then there wasn't.
Yeah, no, there is, but this was 10 years ago, 11 years ago. So I feel like there was no care really. Mad stuff happened on X Factor. Like it was just a bit of a free for all. Like it was just a bit chaotic, of a lack of real, just no care at all. Like, I mean, the stuff that happened to Lucy Spraggan, for example, that we all knew about, that happened when she got sexually assaulted. We all knew it happened, but we weren't allowed to say anything. And that was just...
She's come out now and said about it, which is amazing.
But it's just nuts. Like, we were like, what?
Because she left the show, right? And
so basically, Rylan and Lucy went out for a night out, got back really late, caused quite a lot of disruption in Corinthia Hotel. And then I think they were chucked out. They got put in another hotel, and that's where this awful...
So it wasn't in the...
No, this is where this awful thing happened, and it's... But, you know, that was awful, but then also from a mental health side of things as well, I just feel like once you've done the show, you're just left on your own. There's no, like...
No aftercare.
No aftercare, there's no one... Because, you know, we met, like, 12 managers after the show, and... we had to make a decision which one we go to, but we're like 19, 20, 21 and 22-year-old boys. How were we meant to know this? We just had to like take a complete leap of faith in an absolute toxic industry. It was nuts, but I hope that now there's more being done about it.
And now as adults, I feel like we've been in this industry for so long, like I can look back and go, God, they were using, you know, these adult men are using these young boys to make a load of money. That's what it is. And it's all packaged up as a dream. So like the X Factor is, we're going to make your dreams come true. You're going to win the X, you're going to be in a boy band. However, when you're in that boy band, technically you're given a contract, right? And then it's a loan. Yeah. And you have to pay them back. And they're spending all their money for you on makeup artists. You don't even know how much you're spending on these makeup artists and hair and photographers. And it's all coming out of money that's actually yours, and it's just not explained in a frank way. That's now awful. You can say it like that, but back then it's like, oh my God, I've got a record deal. A record deal is a loan. A record deal is a student loan. It's a debt that you forever pay back when you're in that record deal. And the thing that really frustrates me is that I just feel like there are so many people in the music industry that need to be in prison. Like, is that black and white? There's crooks, there's abusers, there's fraudsters, they're just everywhere. And I think that people, I'm sure they're everywhere in every industry, obviously they're everywhere in every industry, but the music industry is because I think it's such a short, intense burst, it's easier to get away with. People find it easier because there's so many loopholes, there's so many 100 million miles an hour that we can't keep up with, like, what's going on. I have no idea how much I'm being paid for a gig. I have no idea how many albums I've sold, how many singles. I don't even know where. Half the time, we didn't even know where we were. Oh, we're in Hull, are we? Oh, yeah. This looks like it's just another car park. It's another. You just got put in a car, right?
Just got put in a car, and we just had no idea. So we were so easy to take the piss out of and manipulate and steal from, and that's what happened. Like, our accountants, our managers, our tour promoters, they were all in on it together.
Obviously, not all of them, right? Just some of them.
Oh.
Just saying.
A lot of them.
Well, there you go.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
Not all of them, absolutely. We did have some really great people that worked with us and helped us, but
they're few and far between.
Very few and far between.
Yeah, I think that's what people don't realize when they ask me about you being in a band and people in a band and you maybe being a solo artist. Why didn't you be a solo artist? I'm just like, the music industry is so savage and horrible. Like, it's not nice. It's full of horrible people. It's not changed with the times. A lot of other industries, say fashion's got better. It's a bit more transparent. When it comes to the music industry, it's still so dodgy. It's still hidden behind closed doors. The way they take advantage and took advantage of you boys, it makes me so angry, guys. Like, the stuff that went on with Union J, like, you guys could write so many books.
Yeah, we should.
It's crazy. Like, we can't really talk about it in this podcast too much without getting sued.
Getting in trouble.
Literally. But it's like, you boys were just such sweet boys. You're all talented, had a dream and wanted the best. And you were put against each other. You were pulled apart from each other. You were, in ways, abused, manipulated. Just everything that could have gone wrong, I feel like, did go wrong for Union J.
Such bad luck.
And it really made me sad, because if you could now look back, I think all four of you would get together and go, okay, we need to not let this happen to us and not let us fall out over silly things ever, and we can do it. It's everyone, we're actually against you, but they got into your minds.
Yeah, I think it's a shame, because history just keeps repeating itself. You hear it. I remember watching a documentary about Blue, who are obviously my inspiration for why I started singing, and I remember seeing Anthony Costa just say he's got no money, and I remember thinking, what? Anthony Costa's got no money? All of those, like, I bought probably 5 albums.
Especially they were in the time where you were making quite a lot of money.
God. Yeah, you're making ridiculous money.
You guys were at the end.
It's just one of those things that it's such a shame that history keeps repeating itself, and I just think more needs to be done for it. And that's why I have no intention at the moment of going back into the music industry, because it ruined me as a man. It made me lose trust in human beings. So I'm like, it's taken me a long time to get that back. So why would I go back into the music industry?
So when I met you, you were obviously, You Got It All was happening.
Yep.
Your song, remember you went back and performed it on the X Factor.
Yep.
It was so good.
Yeah.
And shortly after that, you guys got dropped out of the blue, and like, You Got It All was second to Ed Sheeran, Thinking Out Loud in the charts. That
was midweek #1.
And Thinking Out Loud, how big was that? And I remember Ed Sheeran did a video of you guys singing You Got It All, didn't he? Being like, sorry. How did that feel then, when you were just suddenly dropped out of nowhere by the people that you trusted?
I still get, I struggle to actually think about this, because it's I'm still so bitter about it.
Are you?
Yeah, definitely. I don't really talk about it, because I just find it just pretty mad, really. Like, I was so lucky.
You were doing so well at the time.
Well, we were.
It was you guys, Little Mix with the girl band. You guys were the boy band. Obviously, One Direction was smashing it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
no, they were coming to an end. They were like over by then.
Oh, were they?
1D were over by then. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was just, and we, like you said, we were at our
about to be
peak.
your moment.
We were at our peak, and we, out of nowhere, got dropped after pretty much having a #1 single. And I'm just like, how is this even possible? And it was like one day you wake up and I felt the most secure I've ever felt in my life. I was like, oh, the band's doing really well. My dreams are coming true of that. I just met you. So I was like, I just met the girl of my dreams. I just had pretty much a #1 single midweek, blah, blah, blah. Life is amazing. And then we were in LA. We were in LA, weren't we? And I got a call from management saying, yeah, basically Sony are dropping you. And it's just like, what? Because normally in these situations, you see it coming. Normally you're like, oh, okay, album sales are really down. We've been on this kind of downward spiral.
Yeah, it would make sense.
And it wasn't. We were up. We were up here. We were doing really well.
Oh, it could only get better.
Of course it can. I mean, we found out certain reasons why. I know a bit more information now than I did at the time, but it still was very, very frustrating.
Yeah, it wasn't to do with how you were in the music industry. It was,
or how we were performing.
To do with dodginess behind the scenes, essentially, wasn't it? Which is just
politics, and
it's just feels so unfair and it's just horrendous. Really, it just makes me so angry. And yeah, I remember as we were in LA, and I was like, "It's gonna be okay." Like, I'm glad you were there with me, really, because at least we were like thinking about other things. We were focusing on other things. And I was like, you can do what I do. Come and do what I do. You need to get Instagram. You can be a model. You joined Storm.
Yeah, joined Storm.
And I was like, it's fine. Who needs to be in the music industry? The music industry is horrible.
To be honest, like I think I remember saying this to my mum. If I hadn't have met you, I would have, I don't know what I would have done, to be honest. I think I would have been in a real even darker place than I was after that news of getting dropped, because that was really hard. Because it was almost like being told, your dream's done, your dream's over now. Like you've worked so hard. And when you think I was like being in bands since I was 14, auditioning, you know, that was like nearly a 10-year journey, a 10-year graft. And then you're just told, that's it, you're done.
And to feel like that's it at that young age is crazy, because obviously you've got a whole life ahead of you. We know now, actually, it's not done. Of course it's not done. And people listening could be like, no, it's not. You've got your whole life ahead of you. But I do feel like in the UK, we've got this rhetoric around people that are successful, that you can be successful and do something incredible. And if it's over, you're a has-been, or like, that's how people can make you feel like it's done now. He used to do that. Now he's this. And it's very bitter, and it's just very much a UK thing. It's only if you're a superstar, megastar, are you relevant enough for people to be like...
Or are you respected? I think it's the respect. That's the thing that I don't understand this country. We have this thing of... we when people are up, we're like, yeah, cool. But then the moment that they're going down, we just slam them down. And we don't... There's a lack of respect. There's a lack of respect in every industry. And within human beings, I think we're at that point where like, why don't we all just like be a bit more caring for one another and actually nice want people to succeed? Life's not always this competition.
And guess what? You know, if you can't just succeed all the time.
Of course
like,
you can't.
God, it would be tiring. Like you've got to, it's amazing that you were in that boy band and you absolutely smashed it. Like how, like you are one in a billion people that has done that. But I'm just saying this because obviously we all know that, but I know that you, after you got dropped, felt like that was it. You'd reached your peak and you were never going to go up again. And I was like, no. Yes, you will. It's just a different chapter.
Well, I still feel like that though. I still feel like I've never got to that height ever. And I don't just mean like, but then it's an impossible height because it's like,
feels like it was stolen from you.
Yeah. It feels like it was stolen from me, but also like I remember feeling at the age of 22 that I think I've said this before, that I peaked at the age of like 21, 22, 23. And in life, like we're told that things go well, you get pay rises, you go up and up and up.
Yeah, if you have like a 9 to 5.
And you know, the older you get, the more successful you get, the bigger your pension gets, the bigger all of this stuff, the bigger your house, the bigger this.
Not our job.
It's like, well, certainly not. Like it was like, okay, Josh, you're 22. What the hell do I do now? Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Like I'm never, everything after that felt like it was just not as good.
And also, obviously, it's super exciting for your friends and your family that you're in this boy band, and it's amazing that everyone gets to go and watch you in these shows. And you know, then you've also got people asking you, "Oh, what you do next?" Like that's a lot of pressure too. I always feel like, you know, you're the one in the family that does the cool stuff. You know, everyone wants to know what Josh is up to. That's also got to be a lot of pressure.
Comes up with a lot. Yeah, it does, because you just. And it's
not that they would ever mean to give pressure. It's just that you're the talking point, because that's a fun thing in their lives too, because they become attached to it and they adore that you're in a band.
I guess I'm terrified to maybe be unsuccessful. I'm terrified for people to think, oh God, Josh is, like how much downhill Josh has gone. Like there's always that scary thought of because
also, who cares?
Yeah, I know. Now I'm older. I am like,
I don't care what anyone thinks.
I'm just a bit so over people. I was saying this yesterday, weren't we? Yeah. I'm just like, I feel like it's so easy to get let down by people.
Yeah, I think, you know what, with our job, what is good is that we can see, or if you have any small business, any of you guys, you can see who really cares.
Yeah, you can.
Because it's blatantly right in front of you. Say with social media, I can see from the people who send me messages, like and comment, who really truly cares in their soul for me, because it takes 2 seconds to click like and it takes 2 seconds to put heart on a photo. Yeah. And obviously you don't have to do that on all my photos, because I do that. I post a lot. But you can it's just blatant in my eyes to see who are like the people with best souls.
I thought I was speaking to my hairdresser Jonathan about this.
Shout out Jonathan.
Yeah, shout out Johnny. And I was saying that.
And shout out Nikita, his gorgeous wife.
I was saying that I thought when you get older, people become more reliable and people become more loyal. But actually, I think the older we're getting, everyone is becoming more selfish. Everyone is becoming more. I get it, because people have families, they get married, they have kids, priorities change. I get that, but also it doesn't take a lot to like be positive and like take an interest in people's lives. And I'm one of the type of people that would constantly be thinking about, oh, what my mate's on holiday right now, I better drop him a message and say, hey man, I hope you have a great time in Canada, or I hope you have a great time in Dublin, wherever it is. Like, that's my nature. But then you also have to remember that not everyone is like that.
Yeah, and
so
I don't think they're trying to be selfish. I think some people are just in your own bubble, aren't you?
And
just living your own life, and they mean the best. They love you, and they see you, and they go, "Oh, Josh," and they just people get a bit caught up. Yeah, that's okay. It is.
We just got very deep, didn't we?
Got very deep.
Very deep.
You've since pivoted.
A lot of big word.
Because I was
Wednesday.
like, join my world, Joshua. Come with me. I'm going to Kris Jenner you up. Which is kind of what I did. She's a momager.
Yeah, the mum. You're not my mum, are you?
Well, obviously not. But she's a she's a manager.
She's a momager.
It's a phrase. She's a Kris Jenner you up. Okay. And I was like, come and do basically what I do. Because there's no men. Also, I feel like when you're in a boy band, the fashion brands were a bit... I don't know. It's weird, isn't it? They kind of looked at you a bit differently. So you really had to work hard now to be in the world that you're in. And you work with incredible brands, and you're absolutely fucking smashing it in the men's social media world. How have you found that?
It took me a while to get confident in the industry, didn't it? I think.
Absolutely.
It's been a journey, hasn't it?
It's been a journey.
And I'm very sort of open and honest with my mental health journey, and I think that actually that's really helped me kind of get more confident in what I do. But yeah, so I mean, you told me to sign to Storm. Somehow they signed me, and then I started doing what I basically just started copying you, didn't I? I just started posting pictures and taking pictures, and then I remember getting my first ever brand deal, which was I worked with Shockwaves. You remember I worked with Shockwaves? I had to do a boomerang of me spraying my hair. All comes back to the hair. Spraying my hair on boomerang for Shockwaves.
Imagine if it was as easy as that now. A boomerang. God. Boomerangs are so millennial core.
Oh, good. Do you remember that one? I was outside your parents' house in the car, and I had to spray it like that.
Is that what you did?
Yeah.
God, my memory is so bad.
And then so I started to get into fashion, and I just documented my life a bit, because at the time when I started, the band had only recently finished, so we had a lot of people following us because they were interested in our lives. And then I've kind of managed to hopefully try and curate a kind of following that follow me for fashion, fitness, mental health guidance. And
it's tough to get the men over, right? Because a lot of men can be like, boy band boy.
Yeah. And that's for years I felt like I had to get rid of this boy band brush that I felt like I was tarnished with it.
Which is ridiculous.
Which is mad. Because
only in the UK.
Literally only in the UK. When you think about that, I was like, I almost wouldn't tell people. I remember I used to always have it in my Instagram bio, singer in Union J. But then I took it out because I was like, brands won't want to work with me if they know I was in a boy band. But actually, that's how stuck up we are as a nation. That I'm almost
we don't want to work with those brands then, because that's ridiculous. What, you were really successful and really talented in the last boy band to kind of ever exist. You were the last boy band to ever exist. Now it's just reunions. How amazing is that? You were fighting against the tidal wave of the end of the boy band.
End of the boy band.
Girl bands get to still exist, but it's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah.
Simon Cowell is bringing back the boy bands.
He is bringing a boy band. He better look after them better than he did us, though.
I know.
But yeah. So I mean, I've just managed to, and I love doing it now because you and I do it together a lot, and some people always ask me, is it not difficult working with your wife and doing the same things that you and Chloe do? But actually, I think it's really nice because you get it, don't you? You understand what it's like to do this job because you do the job. So actually we can really help each other. And there's periods, well, full well, I went through many years where I was really struggling with my mental health, and you had to be there for me more than I could have ever hoped for. And then, recently you've been a bit down and you've been struggling a little bit, and I've been there, and that's why it's nice. Nowhere near as much, but it's nice that what I'm trying to say is it's nice that we understand why we feel the way we feel. And that's a great thing with doing what we both do and doing the same thing.
Yeah, and we also have flexibility on timings and stuff. And
exactly, and I can.
The only thing that is annoying is if I want to film in the living room, he's always there, sat in the living room, and I'm like, "Do you want to get out? Like, you're in the way. We need a bigger house."
We do need a bigger house, but we're working on it. So let's hope this podcast does well.
We can only hope. So how do you find the men's social media world, though? Because honestly, there are so many girl influencers. Like, I'm fighting against that. I'm not fighting. You know, there's a room for everybody, but there are thousands of girls. But there just still feels like there's not many men.
Yeah, there's not many of us guys. And
I love that for you.
I'm quite lucky with that. But I feel like the guys that do it are really good though. You know, so there's no kind of like slapdash ones that just throw random shit up. But no, it is
other than you.
Other than me, yeah. Yeah. But it is good.
Joking.
I mean, I feel like I belong doing that now.
Oh, that's good.
Like I feel quite
I didn't know
like
you
it's
felt like
kind
that.
of my I'm where I'm meant to be.
You found your groove.
Yeah, and I feel this kind of, you know, over the last like 5 years, my following's gone from like 20% men to like 60% men now. So there's loads of men there that follow me, and I know that a lot of them follow me for fashion stuff, which is great, but I also know that quite a lot follow me for mental health and to maybe feel less alone, because when I struggled, I had no idea who to look up to or who to look to for any inspiration or any.
And you get DMs now, don't you?
Oh,
guys,
I
nice.
actually got one. I literally got one on the way here. That basically just said something along the lines of, I just wanted to let you know how much you talking about it has helped me. I came out to my my wife and kids about my mental health, and I was just like, that's amazing. Because like when I was struggling,
you were going to say it's gay then. I was like, ooh, tea.
No, came out. I realised I said came out.
Gossip, tell me more.
Yeah, spill the tea.
What did she say?
But I can't help him with that because I've not experienced that. But yeah, it's just really nice to be able to have, to know that I'm helping other men, because I think that being a man in this world is actually
we don't talk about it enough.
No, and I don't know history. We've always been, you know, being a white man that I am, I know we've had it easier than absolutely anyone in the world, and I completely get that, and I think it's absolutely incredible that we are celebrating other people and women and people from different walks of life, that's what I'm saying. Like it's amazing that we're doing that. But
everyone struggles in life.
Everyone struggles in life, and I think that sometimes we need to remember that there's a lot of men out there that really suffer too.
I think that's why it's good for you to talk about, you know, when we were saying about the X factor and you being insecure about the way you looked, because people don't talk about that much about men, and you know, it's hard out there for men too. It is. And you work with the Samaritans now, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I'm a Samaritans ambassador. They're an amazing charity that help so many people, and I just feel this kind of responsibility to try and do my part too.
Because you do the marathon with the Samaritans.
Do the marathon for Samaritans. I'm doing a marathon every year in my 30s. Chloe hates it because she's like, it becomes Josh's identity. For the 4 months in the build-up, it becomes Josh's identity. It's all he talks about.
No, but I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, you try running a marathon and not talk about it.
You won't find me running a marathon.
No, that's what I'm saying. You won't.
I feel like a man turns 30 and they either get obsessed with golf or they get obsessed with their marathon. Josh chose the marathon.
And my mates have done golf.
Yeah, but at least yours is for charity. I love that.
Mine's for charity, and it's healthy. Keeps you fit.
But honestly, it does.
Golf, you get fat.
It does become your personality.
Yeah. Okay.
It's like every person we meet, Josh talks about a marathon, and we're like, oh.
Yeah, because it's if you've ever done one and you're listening, or I bet people listening, some people listening's partners or whatever have done this maybe, or even you've done it. It's so consuming. Like it's like everything. All you can think about is, oh God, I've got to get my pasta in the night before. I've got a carb load, or I've got a big old training run tomorrow. Yeah. And when you try and talk to people that don't do it, they're like, I don't give a shit, mate.
Gonna do my long run.
Exactly. I don't care. How many miles is it this week? 12. Oh, good for you. But yeah, so that's what I do, and
it's just funny.
I will continue to talk about the mental health stuff for as long as I have a platform to do so.
So cute. And what advice would you give to men? Let's go first with that want to be in the music industry.
Men that want to be in the music industry, don't.
Don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Run
Just sing.
Just run for the hills.
Just sing on TikTok and that's it.
No, but that's...
Yeah, but then that's how pop stars are
Now
born.
that's what it is now. TikTok, thank God it's not that now, because people just now have to do good on TikTok, even like...
Okay. In all seriousness, if you want to be a singer, advice is surround yourself with good people. If you are serious about it, get a family member or someone like that to look after you, because you know that they will have your best interests at heart. If you just go in blind with someone that you don't know.
Read the contracts.
Yeah, oh God, read the T's and C's. Bloody hell.
Read the T's and C's.
Yeah, don't just sign willy-nilly.
Like you did.
Yeah.
I think like everyone does. Of course you do. You won the X Factor. You're meant to trust... Well, no, you didn't win, but you're meant to trust them.
So I signed... This is mad. I signed a record deal and a management contract on an ironing board in a flat in Slough. Not many people can say that, can they? I have signed a management contract on an ironing board.
Sign.
No lawyer looking over it. Just signed my life away.
Like, okay.
And it actually screwed us up a bit, but that's another story that I probably can't say. But
oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that was a nightmare. So basically my advice to anyone in the music industry is don't sign a record contract or management contract on an ironing board in Slough.
I signed a contract with one of my modelling agencies where they would just say, yeah, sign this. It means you're on the talent board.
Yeah, but at least you're in London.
Yeah, but I was like, yay, signing it. Yeah, but they kept me. It had like a secret thing where the small print was that it was a rolling contract, and they wouldn't let me out of it when I wanted to leave. Yeah, there's a lot of dodgy people out there, guys. And advice for men who want to build their social media or like do men's fashion and stuff like you do now.
Be completely authentic to yourself. I used to... Actually, it's just only been recent. If I'm honest, like even last year, like when I was posting, I didn't truly believe in what I was talking about with the fashion stuff. I was almost just...
You'd always say to me, you'd be like, it's all bullshit, isn't it? I'm just going to lie and I'm just going to chat shit. And I'm like, no. Be genuine.
I was trying... I would see these other guys do outrageous things online to get attention. And I'd almost be like, I have to do that too.
Compare yourself.
Oh God, I compare myself, still do it. It's a nightmare. But I remember feeling as if I had to just grab people's attention and not be myself. But actually, my advice is if you just be you, because actually, like, so many people can relate to that.
You've just got to try and not get swept up in the bullshit, haven't you?
And consistent. Try and be consistent with it. That's what I would say.
It's so hard.
Yeah, it is so hard.
I mean, it's not rocket science. Jesus Christ, it's social media. But I mean, it's all consuming. It's never ending. You never feel good enough. You've got to look at yourself all the time.
Yeah.
Compare yourself. Compare the way you look. I always, even with this podcast, the first, a few episodes that have come out, I'm like, oh God, should I have done it like this? Is it cool? Is it this? And it's like, oh my God, sometimes you just have to do it and tell your brain to shut up.
Yeah.
And get on with it.
Yeah.
Tunnel vision. Just get on with it.
It's so easy to like be negative to yourself and feel like you're not good enough.
Else.
But everyone is good enough. Everyone is their own person, and there is a market and there is an audience for everyone.
That's why I made this podcast, because I want people to that might look at us and think we're perfect. Yeah. Not that they do, but you know what I mean? Or like we've got it easy, or someone else on social media's got it easy. I wanted to add a bit of reality and just be like, no, we feel really stressed too about, comparing ourselves and all of that stuff. Who is your muse and why? That's my final question.
You know what's funny about the Muse thing? Do you remember when Chloe came to me and she was like, so the name of the podcast is The Muse, and I was like, what does a muse mean?
Honestly.
And you were like, honestly, are you joking? You don't know what a muse is? So the muse is a muse is basically someone you look up to and go, yeah, I really like them, right?
Yeah, essentially. So like
a bit of an icon.
Back in the day, like you'd have an artist would have their muse.
Right. So,
or like a photographer would have their muse. So like Kate Moss could be their muse, or Marilyn was a muse to, film director. So it's like, someone that's like kind of idolized. But the whole point is like, you're your own muse, and
who's
just someone you look at for inspiration, essentially.
I don't...
It'd just be a nice thing.
Yeah, I don't really have one.
Inspiration.
I don't really have one. I really struggle with that.
You got to think of someone.
I've got to think of someone. Who's my muse? I mean, would it be cliche if I said you?
No, it's cute.
I would say you, because you inspire me all the time, and like I kind of try and match your work ethic as well, and like I look at you for inspiration and drive, and I think you're incredible, and I think you've done Chloe, people probably don't realize, but Chloe is like self-managed herself for 5 years.
I know.
And
I think that's just insanity though.
But people don't realize like how difficult this industry is. So I think that's so inspiring. And so yeah, I'm gonna go for Mrs. Lloyd Cuthbert, aka my wife.
Do you know who else said me?
Who?
Sophie.
Did she? Oh God, what a beg! What an absolute beg.
No, she said someone else as well.
Oh, did she?
But
yeah,
then
cool.
she said, "Can I say 2?"
Oh, okay.
So now I've had 2 people say
nice.
me. I'm gonna get my
That's gonna be
friends
the
and my
terms and
husband on
conditions.
more often. Okay, I
So,
love you. Thanks
love
for
you
coming
more
on my
than anything.
podcast.
Thanks
Anything
for
else
having
you
me.
want to say to the people?
No, just keep listening and donate. No, I'm joking. I don't even think you can donate to a podcast, can you?
What, to us? You're going to give them a Just Giving
We
page?
should
Donate?
just give a page to Josh and Chloe to... I really want to buy a new sofa, so we can just set one up for that.
This one's pretty good. I think we should take this home.
This is very nice, yeah. I haven't got socks on. I've got really sweaty feet. Anyway, that's another story for another
Well, thank
day.
you. I love you.
Love you more.